Biography 16, Richard the Lionheart, the Warrior King. Richard the Lionheart, born Richard I of England, entered the world on the 8th of September 1157 at Beaumont Palace in Oxford. He was the son of King Henry II and the famous Eleanor of Aquitaine, one of the most powerful women of the medieval world. From the beginning, Richard was part of a dynasty that held vast lands across England and France, known as the Angevin Empire. As he grew, his bold nature and striking courage earned him the name Coeur de Lion, or Lionheart. His reign would later capture imaginations, but his story began in the turbulent world of medieval feudal Europe, where kingship was as much about war and loyalty as it was about governance. The late 12th century was a time of crusades, rivalries, and dynastic struggles. Richard ascended the throne in 1189, ruling until 1199, but his reign unfolded against a backdrop of deep tension. Europe was driven by the call to liberate the Holy Land during the Crusades, and rulers like Richard were expected to lead armies in the name of both God and glory. At the same time, kings faced the constant challenge of baronial revolts and shifting alliances with neighboring powers such as France. Richard's task was immense. He had to balance the governance of an empire stretching from England to Aquitaine with the demand for leadership in one of the most significant religious wars of the era. As a boy, Richard's path to power was shaped by family conflict and political education. He was Eleanor's favorite son, and much of his youth was spent in Aquitaine, the heart of her inheritance. By the age of 11, he was already Count of Poitiers, and soon after, Duke of Aquitaine. Early exposure to leadership thrust him into a world of intrigue and rebellion. In 1173, Richard even joined his brothers in an uprising against his father, Henry II, before later turning against rebellious barons himself. These formative experiences taught him not only the art of warfare, but also the difficult lessons of loyalty, betrayal, and the relentless demands of ruling in a feudal age. Richard's reign is remembered above all for his military achievements, particularly in the Third Crusade. He captured Cyprus, played a central role in the siege of Acre, and achieved a dramatic victory at the Battle of Arsuf in 1191. His reputation as a fearless commander spread across Europe and even into the Islamic world. Though he never captured Jerusalem, his negotiations secured Christian access to the city's holy sites, a significant, if partial, success. Beyond the battlefield, Richard left his mark through cultural and architectural achievements. He commissioned the mighty Château Gaillard in Normandy, a fortress praised for its advanced design, and introduced the shield with 3 lions, which still stands as the symbol of English royalty. His character was as complex as his legacy. Chroniclers described him as brave, generous, and a brilliant leader, but also as hot-tempered, proud, and capable of great cruelty. One of his most infamous decisions was the massacre of 2,700 Muslim prisoners after the fall of Acre, an act that cast a shadow over his chivalric image. Yet his contemporaries, including Muslim chroniclers like Baha ad-Din, also respected him for his courage and skill. During his captivity, Richard declared to Emperor Henry VI, "I am born of a rank which recognizes no superior but God," reflecting both his pride and his unshakable sense of royal dignity. Richard's reign was filled with both triumph and controversy. He spent only about 6 months in England during his 10 years as king, focusing instead on crusades, battles in France, and his long captivity. In 1192, While returning from the crusade, he was captured in Austria and later handed over to the Holy Roman Emperor, who demanded an enormous ransom. This weakened England, drained its treasury, and highlighted Richard's neglect of his homeland. His absence left governance to others, including his brother John, whose rule in Richard's stead became a prelude to his own troubled reign. Despite his flaws, Richard's legacy proved remarkably powerful. The three lions on his shield became an enduring symbol of England, still used by the monarchy and national teams today. His life inspired countless works of literature and art, from the legend of Robin Hood, where he appears as the absent but noble king, to novels like Ivanhoe and films like The Lion in Winter. His statue stands outside the British Parliament, a reminder of how his memory has been woven into England's identity. His heart lies buried in Rouen, while his body rests at Fontevraud Abbey. Yet his legend traveled far beyond those resting places. Over the centuries, Richard the Lionheart has been transformed into a romantic hero, a figure of chivalry and courage. Myths tell of his loyal minstrel Blondel discovering him in captivity, and even of fairy ancestry through the legendary Melusine. To modern eyes, he is both a man of flesh and blood, a warrior king with flaws and ambitions, and a symbol of leadership, bravery, and the dangers of neglecting one's people for glory abroad. His story invites reflection on how history and legend intertwine, leaving us with a king remembered more for his lion's heart than for his crown.